Hey guys, back with another one. So, not that long ago, we talked about some signs, indicators of brain rot, right? So, this is kind of an issue some doctors, some professionals, they kind of scoff at. They think it's just a made up thing, it's just something related to memes, meme trends, but it's not a real phenomenon. It has nothing to do with mental health or anything like that. But as I mentioned, I do believe it's a serious issue. I do believe it exists. And I don't think brain rot is just brain fog, but it's something that just really makes people dumb in general. And if we don't take it seriously, it can cause serious problems. And today I'm here to share two stories that were mentioned in the news, and in both situations, there's footage of what went on, and in my opinion, it's kind of related to brain rot. And personally speaking, I believe both scenarios, both real situations, are peak brain rot examples. Okay, let's talk about them. So, in one such event, I think it happened sometime last year, about a year ago. There was a young lady, woman who worked allegedly as a nurse practitioner, and she was caught on camera texting, with both hands while driving a vehicle, driving a car. And this was, I believe, a car she rented from Turo. So that's some kind of rental car service like Enterprise or Hertz. I haven't heard of them before. I haven't driven in a while, so I'm not sure. But anyway, this dash cam by Turo uh, pretty much visibly showed how she was incredibly distracted. Like, she would keep like turning her head up and down, like pretty frequently. And in the end, not surprisingly, she just collided into some random mailbox. And this obviously resulted in about like $5,000 worth of damage. And of course, the owner of the mailbox sued her later on in court. And I didn't look into this at all. I was just more interested in the behavior, not the aftermath. But I'm sure the hospital she worked at probably fired her too. And that's a shame for someone, who works in such a profession. You think they'd know better, right? But it can happen to anyone. A more recent situation involved another lady, older lady, kind of more middle aged. She wasn't as young as the one in our previous story, but anyway, it doesn't matter. She was working for, and this is vehicle related as well, ironically. So she was working for driving for the rideshare app Lyft, right? Similar to Uber. And apparently, from what the footage revealed, she was taking two female passengers to their destination when one of the two passengers, a young lady, I think probably in her 20s, she asked her like what the heck she was doing, like why she was watching a show or some kind of program on her smartphone while she was driving at the same time. So imagine she's taking you to your home, to your destination. This is your Lyft driver, this is your Uber driver, and you notice like they have a smartphone or a tablet, some kind of portable device out, and they're just watching some kind of 20-minute, 30-minute, whatever, TV show or something. Or they're watching Netflix or something, like something that ridiculous. So when they pressed her for answers, the lady just, snapped at them. She told them like to mind their own business, like they have no right to tell her what she's doing. She's super stressed out. She's working on Lyft like for 8, 10 hours a night. Leave her alone. Da da da. She wasn't having it. Anyway, a long story short, they demanded that she would drop them off at a random location. And they didn't care about the destination anymore. They were quite concerned about their safety because you never know. Maybe she might, like the person we mentioned in the first story, she might collide somewhere. So that lady, that Lyft driver did drop them off ASAP. And of course, soon after, these guys um, called Lyft to report the incident. And I'm just assuming, again, I didn't look at the aftermath, but I didn't follow up with it. I'm sure she was probably terminated on Lyft to say the least, and probably arrested for that incident. So the reason I shared these two incidents, these two stories, is because a lot of people deny that brain rot exists, and I think that's BS. I think that brain rot is a real phenomenon, and not a good one, as a matter of fact. And I believe, you know, when people are so carried away or they're so distracted with their smartphones, tablets, or other portable devices, these kinds of habits, addictions, distractions can lead to really dangerous outcomes sometimes. And I've already heard of stories and rumors of, distracted drivers running people over, with their car, with their trucks. That doesn't surprise me to say the least. So I don't think this is like a personality um, related situations. I think this is just something that's more related to our mind, not just general behavior. So, this is something that deserves more attention than it receives. And so, if you are one of these kinds of people who kind of, you know, finds finds themselves distracted all the time with phones and devices, this is just some food for thought. It's just something to think about. So just be careful out there. Try to have a little bit of discipline. Try to set limits. Otherwise, if there are no limits, there are no boundaries, crazy events like this could happen. So it's not just people who are driving under the influence that are dangerous, but people who are distracted with devices who are also, dangerous. In a way, they too are kind of, intoxicated in a sense. Hope you enjoyed this one. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.